Give everybody just another minute or so to make sure we've caught everyone. All right, let's go ahead and get started. Good afternoon. I'm Hearing Officer Sam Bivens with the Administrative Hearings Office of the State Water Resources Control Board. This is a pre-hearing conference in the matter of a proposed cease and desist order against David Collenberg. The public hearing in this matter will begin on October 14th, 2024 at 9 a.m. This pre-hearing conference is being conducted by Zoom web conference and is also being broadcast live on the AHO YouTube channel. Both the audio and video are being recorded, and we will post files of this recording along with the Zoom-generated transcript to the AHO FTP site. The YouTube recording will also be available on the AHO YouTube webpage. If at any time you experience technical difficulties trying to communicate with us, please send an email to the AHO at adminhrgoffice@waterboards.ca.gov, and AHO staff will be monitoring that email inbox. With me today are several staff of the Administrative Hearings Office. I see Skylar Anderson, Nicole Mullen, Rebecca Stolfus, and Kyle Wooldridge. Let's now move to appearances, and I'll start with the prosecution team.
Good afternoon. This is Debbie Orrs, attorney for the Division of Water Rights.
This is Kenneth Petrozelli, attorney for the Office of Enforcement, representing the Division of Water Rights. Ms. Orrs is the lead today.
Great. Thank you, Ms. Orrs. Thank you, Mr. Petrozelli. I see a number of staff from the division with us today. I don't need you all to introduce yourselves, but I see you there on screen, and it's good to have you all with us. And let's move now to respondent, Mr. David Collenberg.
Yeah, I'm here.
Good afternoon, Mr. Collenberg. And is there anyone else other than Mr. Petrozelli, Mr. Orrs, and Mr. Collenberg who intend to actively participate in today's pre-hearing conference? All right. With that, let's move on to our agenda. I think this is, and thank you to the prosecution team, Ms. Orrs. I received your pre-hearing conference statement. I appreciate that. That was helpful. I think this will be pretty short. We have a hearing scheduled for October 14th. I understand the prosecution team plans to offer one witness. So I think most of this pre-hearing conference will be geared towards you, Mr. Collenberg, and there you are at the bottom of my screen. So first of all, Mr. Collenberg, are you represented by counsel in this proceeding?
Nope.
Have you had you've had an opportunity to consult counsel, correct?
I don't have the means or funds to afford counsel.
Understood. Well, I want to, if you're planning to represent yourself in this hearing process, one, I want to, everyone has a right to represent themselves in these types of proceedings. They can be, water rights issues can be complicated. I would encourage you to consult with counsel if you have an opportunity about your options. I think that would be helpful to you, but you certainly have a right to represent yourself.
I would like to, but I don't have the money to do it, so I can't. So I'm stuck with myself.
Understood. I want to make sure, Mr. Collenberg, that you have had a chance to review the amended hearing notice dated July 12th, I believe, and in particular, that you understand the schedule and deadlines for hearing participation that are laid out on page 2 of that notice. Do you have any questions about that?
No, I seen the hearing dates.
Okay, very good. And Mr. Collenberg, do you plan to testify in this hearing or offer the testimony of any other witnesses?
Just me.
Just you. And you do plan to testify?
I would assume so, yes.
Well, you know, this is not legal advice by any means. You know, I will say that the prosecution team in this proceeding has the burden of proving their case, and you know they have to submit witness testimony to do that effectively. You do not necessarily need to. You have the right to cross-examine the prosecution team's witness.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
And that may be, you know, one of several options for attempting to address whether the prosecution team has met its burden of proof. If you do plan to submit written testimony, Mr. Collenberg, I want to direct your attention to the September
No,
3rd.
I would probably just be doing what you're saying, just cross-examining the witness. So that would
All
be
right.
it.
I will leave that to you. And I just do want to draw your attention to, if you intend to testify at the hearing, your deadline for filing in service of proposed written testimony and exhibits before the hearing is September 13th. And since you're representing yourself and you probably haven't appeared in front of the State Water Board or this office before, we do typically we require that witnesses submit written testimony in advance of the hearing. And then, you know, of course, you and the prosecution team's witnesses will have the opportunity to briefly summarize that written testimony. But if you intend to testify, your written testimony will be your testimony in this case.
Okay.
So you intend to do that. September 13th is the deadline. Looks like that's 8 days away. Prosecution team is very familiar with this, so I don't need to remind them, but I want to make sure you understand that.
Okay. Thank you.
And then I did see in the prosecution team's pre-hearing conference statement that there are two curtailment orders that may potentially apply to Mr. Collenberg. And Mr. Collenberg, have you had a chance to review those curtailment orders?
Is that the daily email that comes through the emails about curtailments?
Well, it might be. Those orders may have been sent to you in those daily emails. I'm not familiar with the daily emails, but I believe there are two orders of the state board involving curtailment dated July 23rd and July 24th. And I don't know whether or the extent to which those apply to you or that those are in effect. But I will say that, hang on, Mr. Collenberg, I will say that those are pretty important documents potentially for you. And those are two documents that I would encourage you to review very carefully, because there are, you know, potential risks associated with not complying with those curtailment orders. They're not an issue in this proceeding, but you certainly don't want to compound your troubles. So
that's July 24th and 25th, you said?
I believe they're dated the 23rd and the 24th.
23rd, 24th. Okay, I'll look those up after this hearing or meeting.
I think that would be prudent. Okay, with that, and I'll turn to the prosecution team first. Are there other procedural matters, Ms. Orrs, that you'd like to raise at this point?
No, there's nothing procedural that we need to raise at the moment. Thank you.
All right, and Mr. Collenberg, any procedural issues, matters, questions that you'd like to raise? This is going to be, I think, the one opportunity for us all to chat via Zoom before the hearing starts in October.
I mean, I don't think so. Not that I'm aware of.
All right. Well, with that, I will we'll turn to next steps and then adjourn. Hearing starts on October 14th, Sounds like we'll have one, maybe two witnesses, depending on how Mr. Collenberg chooses to proceed. And written testimony is due on September 13th. So with that, unless there's anything else we need to discuss, I think we are adjourned. Thanks very much, everyone.
Thank you.